Scott just made the point.
Jefferson used to be a lot more secure, not just.
Has the federal government become so impossible to change that it's time for a little civil disobedience? One controversial author says yes, and he has a plan. I'm PJTV's Scott Ott, joined now by Stephen Green and Bill Whittle. Men, Charles Murray sure knows how to stir things up with inflammatory books like 1994's The Bell Curve, Intelligence and Class Structure in American Life, and 2013's Coming Apart, The State of White America. He broke through social taboos and brought research to bear against conventional wisdom. Well, Murray's about to stir the pot again with By the People, Rebuilding Liberty Without Permission. The book comes out this May, and here's a sample of the ideas behind it.
To put it bluntly, what I want to do is to make large chunks of the federal code of regulations unenforceable. I want to make government into an insurable... I want to make government into an insurable hazard. The way I want to do it is through massive civil disobedience underwritten by privately funded defense funds. In my view, America's system has been transmuted into something bearing only a structural resemblance to what the founders had in mind. The substance of what they created is nearly gone. The Founders' Constitution has been discarded and distorted in ways that cannot be fixed.
Now, Murray's plan basically creates a privately raised pot of money that he calls the Madison Fund to fight the regulatory state and to tilt the balance of power in favor of individuals and small businesses who typically have to shut up and do what the government says or be crushed. Get enough such cases, and the government won't have the resources to contest them all. Like police officers who don't stop everyone who speeds, the government would be forced to go after only those who are truly jeopardizing public health and safety. Now, Stephen Green, as a man who believes in the rule of law, doesn't Murray's idea rub you the wrong way? I mean, isn't this just anarchy by another name?
I love this. You know what I especially love is the title of that book. It's so in your face. Take your liberty without permission, of course. You know what allegiance you owe to somebody or a government that takes your liberty? You owe them a salute, a single finger middle digit salute. And that is the end of the allegiance that you owe to them. That is a brilliant title. It's a brilliant concept. You know what I believe in? I do believe it. I do believe in the law. But I believe in law and disorder. And the reason is the law, at least at the federal level, the way this country was originally constructed and construed and imagined, is the law covers very, very few things. And in the rest of it, we are free to pursue our dreams and our happiness as we want to, as we desire, to enjoy the fruits of our liberty, to enjoy that pursuit of happiness, to do these things because we are free to, because we have that liberty. And that, you know what, that is no way to run a nice, decent country. But it's a hell of a way to make a great one.
Well, in a sense, Murray is advocating the Cloward and Piven strategy of overwhelming the government so that it'll give up and, in their case, go full communist. But he doesn't want more stuff from the government, as Cloward and Piven did. He wants to be left alone. He wants to go full liberty. Now, Bill Whittle, Murray thinks that the courts, the Congress, the executive, and the regulatory apparatus are irreparably damaged. Is he wrong, or are you wasting your time getting all lathered up about elections and legislation and such?
I think he's dead right, Scotty. And, I think, let me just go to the point you raised a minute ago about lawfulness. We are law and order people, and it is the destruction of the rule of law that has put us in this position. We wouldn't be talking about things like this if the president had stayed within his constitutional bounds, if the Congress didn't use things like the Commerce Clause to get their little greedy little fingers into every aspect of everybody's life so that they can get more power and more money. It is the lawlessness of the government that's the problem, not the lawlessness of the American people. If it has reached a point where the lawlessness is so remote, where the governance is so remote from the people, that they are no longer of the people, then you're back right where you were with the Boston Tea Party, right? You get a bunch of fraternity boys all liquored up and you get out there and trash the place because they're charging you for Wi-Fi. That's basically what you do. And just as we agreed with the American colonists philosophically in terms of the American Revolution, because they felt that they were not being treated justly, not that they were being treated unlawfully. There's no question that they were being treated lawfully. It's that the law itself was unjust, that George's commands and that his injunctions were unjust. They didn't comply with natural law, that there was a higher law, the law of the truth, that needed to be obeyed in contravention of the written political law. And that was the justification for the American colonies, and that's the justification he's putting forth here. He's absolutely right. You know, a decent military remains decent only because of the willingness of the individual soldier to disobey an order that they personally consider to be illegal or immoral. That's the difference between us and Nazi Germany. It doesn't matter what the president says or the major says or the lieutenant says. If he tells you to go shoot civilians, it is your moral obligation to disobey that order because we expect you to have a moral core. And that's the argument he's making here, and he's absolutely right to make it. And he better make it quickly while there's still a moral core left for the population to base their decisions upon.
For more on that idea, go to YouTube or PJTV and look up Bill Whittle's video on with the title of something like, "Sir, I Will Not Obey That Order." You know, we are a nation of laws, not of men, but arbitrary enforcement of innumerable, inscrutable, perhaps unconstitutional, sometimes retaliatory, bureaucratic regulations that exceed the scope of legislative authority is not only inconsistent with, but positively destructive of the rule of law. It is at such times that civil disobedience is not only called for, but perhaps morally required. For Bill Whittle, Stephen Green, and the entire Trifecta crew at PJTV.com, I'm Scott Ott.